in a while you're just eager for this career transition, you're already sick and tired of your current career path and you want to go for a change, but for some reason you just keep thinking about this idea but always postponing, I have a message here for you. So, I would say first of all that you don't need more clarity, you only need to act. Let me tell you something that might be uncomfortable to hear. Sometimes you don't need more clarity, you need to act. And I see this all the time with people who want to change career. In the beginning, everything feels exciting. You start asking yourself, what am I good at? What do I actually want? What kind of work would make sense for my life? What are my values? What's my purpose? And these are important questions. I'm a career specialist. I work with professional self awareness. Of course, I believe you need to understand yourself before making important career decisions. But there is a point where self awareness stops helping you and start protecting you from taking action. And that's where things get interesting. Because thinking about changing your career feels very different from actually changing it. It's one thing to say, I want a different life. It's another thing to update your LinkedIn and tell the world what you're looking for. It's one thing to discover that you're underpaid. It's another thing to negotiate your salary. It's one thing to say you want to work remotely or internationally. It's another thing to apply for a position in another country, speak in a language that your first language, go through an interview and risk ring no. That's when suddenly maybe you don't need more clarity. Do you? Or are you scared? Because these are not the same problem. And if you treat fear as a lack of clarity, you can spend another 6 months analyzing a decision you already know you need to make. And this is why I believe procrastination is not always a productivity problem. Sometimes procrastination is information. And if you keep avoiding something important in your career, don't just ask yourself, how can I stop procrastinating? You should ask, what am I actually avoiding? Are you avoiding the task or you're avoiding the rejection? Are you afraid of failing? Are you afraid of being seen trying? Are you afraid of choosing one direction because choosing means letting go of other possibilities? Or, and this one can hurt, do you actually not want the career you keep telling yourself you should want? That's professional self awareness. But then comes the second part, professional maturity. And professional maturity means understanding that you don't need to feel confident before you move. You don't need to have zero doubt. You don't need a perfect plan. And you definitely don't need to heal every insecurity you've collected since childhood before sending a job application. At some point, you have to move. And you can be scared and move. And you can feel insecure and move. You can question yourself and still have the conversation. You can apply without knowing whether they will choose you. You can start without knowing exactly where the path will lead. That's not recklessness, that's adulthood. And I think we need to talk much more about this when we can talk about career transitions. This is a topic I'm often bringing up here. Because changing careers requires self awareness, yes, but it also requires commitment. And commitment becomes important precisely when motivation disappears. When it's boring, when you're afraid, when you've applied for jobs and no one answered, when someone rejects you, and when you're tired of networking. I know it's not easy at times. When the fantasy of your new career meets the reality of building it. I know it can be scary. And that's where you discover whether you're actually committed to the change or just emotionally attached to the idea of changing. And listen, I'm not saying you should force yourself down a path that feels wrong. Sometimes resistance is telling you something important. Maybe the goal isn't yours. Maybe you're exhausted. Maybe your strategy isn't working. Maybe something genuinely needs to change. So investigate your resistance. Understand it. Listen to yourself. But don't turn self awareness into an endless waiting room. Because eventually there is nothing else to understand. There is only something you need to do. So if you've been saying for a month that you need more clarity, ask yourself an uncomfortable question. What do I already know that I'm afraid to act on? Sit with that and then choose one action, not 20. Only one. Send the application, have the conversation, update the profile, ask for the money, contact the person, make the decision. Whatever your next step is, take it. Because self awareness can show you to the road, but it cannot walk the road for you. At some point, you have to stop understanding yourself and start trusting yourself enough to move.